and welcome to another edition of English User TV. Hello and welcome to episode 9 of English User TV. This week's episode is called Getting Down to Business. Why? Because this week we're going to do something a little bit different. This week we are going to do business English dialogues just for a little change. We're also, of course, going to have this week's expression of the week, website of the week, podcast of the week, and this week's to-do list. So, join us for episode 9 of English User TV. Okay, let's get started. But first, before we start, let me just say welcome to our show. Thank you for downloading this video cast, and I hope you're finding English User TV useful for your English learning experiences. Okay, let's get to it straight away, and let's start with our first business English dialogue. Okay, you'll notice that this dialogue is called Let's Get Down to Business. Let's get down to business means let's get started. So, let's get started with our first dialogue this week. Our first dialogue, we come up with, Good morning, Sarah. How are you today? I'm fine, Sato. Did you sleep well? Yes, I did, thank you. So, what is today's meeting about? I think it's about how we can improve our sales. Who's taking the meeting? Stephen from our Singapore office. Okay, so let's go through this one a little bit more detail. Good morning, Sarah. How are you today? Now, we use this greeting for somebody that we meet pretty much every day, maybe our co-worker or somebody that we are working with. Sarah replies, I'm fine, Sato. Did you sleep well? And did you sleep well? Yes, I did, thank you. There's a great one. Particularly if you've had an early morning start, you can use, did you sleep well? Yes, I did, thank you. So what is today's meeting about? What is today's meeting about? Coming up in our next section, vocabulary, I will explain that one a little bit more to you. I think it's about how we can improve our sales. And who's taking the meeting? And again, I'll give a bit more detail in our next section on the meaning of who's taking the meeting. Stephen from our Singapore office. Stephen from our Singapore office. So, let's just go through that dialogue again. Good morning, Sarah. How are you today? I'm fine, Sato. Did you sleep well? Yes, I did, thank you. So, what is today's meeting about? I think it's about how we can improve our sales. Who's taking the meeting? Stephen from our Singapore office. Okay, let's just move on now to vocabulary. So, here we go. Okay, moving on with our vocabulary part. As I said earlier, let's have a look through some of these. What is today's meeting about? What is today's meeting about? This actually just means what is the meeting's topic? What is today's meeting subject or topic? Now, you'll notice in the dialogue that I think it's, or I think. Now, we can use this even if we're sure, actually. I mean, when you say, I think it's, you probably think, I'm not sure. But actually, if you're 90% sure that something is right, you can just say, I think it's about today's sales. Who's taking the meeting? Who's taking the meeting? This one is actually quite simple. Who is in charge of the meeting? Who will be speaking at the meeting? Who has organized the meeting, if you like? So there you go. What is today's meeting about? What is today's subject? I think it's, now you can use that phrase for when you're not sure about something, or even when you're 90% sure of something. And who's taking the meeting? Who's taking the meeting? Who is organizing the meeting? Who's speaking at the meeting, etc. Okay, now there we go. Let's move on now to this week's website of the week. Okay, this week's website of the week is www.facebook.com. Now, you're wondering, what's Facebook got to do with English? Well, that's true. What has Facebook got to do with English? Well, one of the things I was trying to think about this week was, how can I help you guys to be using English every day? It's one of the best ways to learn English, and that's to use it every day. Now, if you can create yourself a profile on Facebook and then start trying to make friends, you can be chatting and speaking in English online every day. It's a great way to get practice with English on a daily basis by opening a Facebook account. Now, I know with my Korean listeners out there, or Korean viewers out there, you guys can actually join SciWorld, an American SciWorld. So it's pretty much the same format as you have in Korea, but obviously only, and I mean this, only in English. So check out SciWorld USA, and let's see if you can make some USA friends. If not, you can use Facebook, or you can try and find some other social networking sites. What a great way to actually learn English is to actually make friends and use your English that you're learning. So there you go. That's this week's website of the week. It's www.facebook.com. Okay, let's get back straight into our dialogues now and move into dialogue 2.